Yes.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let me just grab one of my pages over here. Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our September 2021 executive meeting for Community Board 3. We're going to start with our minutes approval for our last executive meeting. Go ahead, Thomas, with a roll call.
Okay, roll call. Alicia,
Yes.
Larissa,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Okay. Thomas, yes. Shirley. Okay. David.
Yep.
Anisha,
Yes.
Maylee,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Michelle,
Present.
Trevor,
Yes.
and Paul.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Linda, can you put up the agenda?
Sure.
Great.
You all see it?
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, so really quickly, I want to apologize to everyone. Today was Borough Board and I was not in attendance at the Borough Board. And I do apologize for that. There was some severe miscommunication and there was a breakdown. And I was not able to get away from work to attend. We had a potential vote, but we could not vote because we actually won't be voting on the text amendment until next week at full board. And so I couldn't have voted for that anyway. As far as giving a report, that was the bulk of my report because when I'm at work, I really can't get away for these borough board meetings. I've expressed myself to our borough president on several occasions from the time I took this position that I would not be able to attend many of the borough board meetings. I attend the ones that I can, which is normally during the summer months. And if there's a school holiday that falls on a borough board meeting night or a day, I've asked on several occasions for them to change the time. And I'm not really sure if they're not able to do it because of their constrictions with their bylaws. I'm not sure, but I mean, I've asked on several occasions. I've sent emails about it. So I just wanted to clarify that. And I do know Linda and I just had a conversation that she would definitely be able to help us out if I couldn't find someone. So the next time we would definitely be represented. But the thing is that you won't be able to vote. You'll just be able to give a chair's report and be in attendance just to hear back from borough board what's going on and share back with the committee. So
You'll tell me what to say, right?
Yeah, and I will definitely send you a report on what to say. And so I thank you so much for being an alternative because I know Eric was very busy today. I reached out to him well in advance and he was not able to do so today. And I know, I don't know what came up, but Larissa did send me an email just like 10-15 minutes ago. So I understand. So that was that. So again, my apologies for not being represented there. So we have it's September. So on our calendar of things we need to do, we need a nominating committee, everyone. I thought about it. I've been looking over the membership. I've been looking at past chairs of the nominating committee. And I am so open for suggestions. If any one of you would be interested in chairing it, who has experience with nominations? Who's interested in taking on another project? I'm saying this laughingly, but it's really not a laughing matter. We really need someone that has experience with the nominations and is able to lead. Jackie, are you volunteering to be my nominating chair?
I know I'm trying to nominate Linda Jones for the nominating chair.
Oh,
Uh,
I've done
I
it the
second that
last 2
nomination.
times. Just a moment here now. I think someone else should take a turn because I have done it 2 times in a row.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to give Linda a little break from this because I know, it's great to have someone with the level of expertise. But I also want to make sure that we're conscious to spread it around because I've heard feedback from other members that are like, how come it's always the same people? And da, da, da.
Well, exactly, but then they don't volunteer to do
But
it.
then they don't volunteer to do it. And then when I call on them, they're busy or they don't have time or whatever. But anyway, I have a few names in the hat for as far as committee members. I'm going to start reaching out to a few people. If you have people that are on your committee that you think would be give an excellent opportunity for them to be a part of the nominating committee, that will really be great because we really need to announce this. I really wanted to do it at full board next week. And so I really only have like 4 days to get this done. And that's like, dun, dun, dun. It has to get done. So here we go.
I nominate Jackie.
Jackie, the world traveler. Jackie, what about you, Jackie?
I can be a committee member.
You could be a committee member. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'll have you down.
I could do that too, but I don't want to be the
You could
chair.
be a committee member. Okay.
Might be
Linda.
good to have somebody experienced on the committee.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Also, somebody who's willing to do the work. Alicia, that's been one of my frustrations in doing it. in the
Yeah.
past,
Yeah.
Particularly last year, just didn't get much help.
I know. And so I'm trying my best not to make that same mistake again, Linda. And so with the 2 of you, I need 3 more. I need actually 2 more in a chair. So, so I'm going to be making some phone calls, copping some pleas, as they say,
And
trying to get some
if you
support.
find some others, I don't
Yeah.
want to be on it at all.
Yeah.
Can I
Okay.
suggest Tariq as a potential member?
Okay. So the thing with Tariq is traveling right now for work.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what he made. He made an announcement at Arts and Culture. Anisha, am I correct?
He's going to be, I don't know if he's traveling now, but he'll be in Russia towards the end of the year.
Oh, the end of the year. Okay,
I think it might be November, December, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so I'll reach out to him because the thing is he has to be here for the election. Or at least on Zoom for the election, able to help support that. So, okay, so I'll reach out to Tariq. And anyone else?
We could ask Heidi.
I'm going to ask Heidi. Yeah, she was one of the people I had on my list. And if you think of anyone else, for the sake of time, just get back to me, okay? Yes, Jackie, I see your hand.
Yeah, so do we also need someone with technical background, like to do the counting and also
because it's an electronic vote.
Yeah.
So
I'll suggest Paul because he has, that really need experience. Otherwise it's easily messed up. That's why I feel like
that's a negative.
Yeah.
I retired. I don't know if you all heard that. I retired last year from electronic voting.
Good for you, Paul. We have a lot of technical savvy people.
More than happy to assist anybody who wants to do it. But
okay. Okay, so we'll use you as a person of reference. So so anyway, like I said, for the sake of time, I don't want to hold everyone up here, but I really just want you to keep that. If you have anyone on your committees that you think would be an excellent opportunity. That's how I started off in my leadership, was actually just being involved with the nominating committee. And that really, opened up different things for me, opened up my eyes in different areas of being on the community board in a leadership role. So it might be a great opportunity for someone that may have been may have been on the board for like at least a year, maybe looking to get their feet wet, trying to learn more about, what goes on behind closed doors in CB3. So like I said, send me a name, send me an email, shoot me an email, and then I'll be able to reach out to the individual. I want to do this weekend if possible, so that I can confirm and be ready to report this on Tuesday night. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on. And the next thing is on Saturday, this Saturday, there is a recognition day that is happening at Bruschetti. Kenyelle has asked us to come out and support this event that she's having. I have been asked to speak at the event to give a little information about, what the community board is, what do we do. I'd like it if someone else would join me, not just Susan, because Susan is always doing these type of things, but I think it's important for people to see other people in leadership to come out to this event. I know, Paul, you did say you might pass through.
Yeah, I will be there. I'll be there
Okay.
on Saturday.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Alicia, this is Larissa. How close is it is it Lower East Side?
Yeah, Bruschetti, it's right
yeah.
there on East 3rd.
I'm not familiar with that one place.
Yeah, it's off of Avenue C. And
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah,
I know where that is. Okay.
yeah.
I'm usually out on Saturday walking. I can definitely make that my walk and be by to answer questions or talk to people.
So
about
the
the
event
board.
starts at 4, but she's saying that the speakers are probably not looking to speak until around 5:30, just to give
Okay.
people an opportunity to get out and, more of the residents and whomever is going to come out. So we're looking at maybe 5 o'clock. If you could be there by 5 o'clock, that'd be great.
I can
Okay,
walk up.
I'm gonna
Sure.
bring some brochures as well. I have some brochures on me, and we'll walk with some CB information as well. So if you want to, write a little blurb down, it doesn't have to be anything long. No big speeches, just a little blurb of what we do or what your role is on the board or whatever, something like that. Okay.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I think that's it for me, Susan. I think that's it for me, guys. So yeah, if any, I'm sorry. That's going to be it for me right now. First Vice Chair's report.
I do not have a report this evening.
Okay, thank you. Second Vice Chair's report, Eric.
Nothing to report. Sorry.
Thank you. District Manager's report, Susan.
Okay, thank you. First, I just want to say anything anyone wants to ask about any of the things going on, please ask me. I've sent out the agenda, which I'm hoping everyone will check carefully. Trevor knows I have to add 2 things to parks, but I think everything else is complete. And you have a vote sheet that's almost complete, almost 100% complete. Please check that it's okay. Operationally, one thing I wanted to ask was if we can get a little bit more consistency on how the committees operate as far as with the office. And the reason this came up somewhat this month is because of the Zoom. Some chairs on their own will make sure that their Zoom facilitator is active or going to be able to facilitate, which is great. But if you would please include me or let me know, because other committees, totally nothing is happening, and I find out right before that there is nobody facilitating. So I have to check in. And like I say, if people want to do it on their own, I think it's great. It appears generally facilitators, if they cannot facilitate, it seems they are not proactively letting people know. So it is necessary to check. So I will check unless I hear otherwise from you. But if you're doing it, please let me know so that I don't duplicate your work and kind of bug everybody.
Susan, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Larissa. Just wanted to let you know, I can, that was one duty that I had prior to my leave of absence, that I would reach out to the facilitators and to the chairs and make sure everyone had a facilitator. I can definitely start doing that
Well,
this month.
I had the beginning of the month, I suggested that we speak to catch up on all of that. So,
Okay.
I'll repeat
So
that.
let's set it, yeah,
invite.
let's set aside some time. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure.
The other thing is in just messages to committees about, particularly about work that involves the office or sending things to the office. If you could please just CC me, it just makes life so much easier. So that's kind of all I'm asking. And one other thing is, if there's something that isn't going well or you want to change or anything, please give me that feedback. I'm always happy. I'm happy to try and accommodate different committees. As far as Borough Board, the video of the meeting is on Gail's Facebook page, so we're not really missing any information. I often watch it afterward. And for Cannell's event, I'm not sure it's a Bracetti event. It's something she put together, but it's in the Garden of Humanitarians. But the point, they're honoring nonprofits and organizations in the community, and CB3 is one of the organizations that they're honoring. So that's why they asked us to come. It's because they're honoring us. I'm not sure if they want more than one speaker. There may be something good to check out with her. But it's very nice that they're doing that. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. And if there's no questions, that's it. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one thing. Just on the citywide text amendment, people are still sending me their positions. And there are also now hundreds of people emailing Gail to tell them her position and copying the board. I think on that, it's probably 100% passionately against.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Thank you, Susan. Any questions for Susan, anyone? Paul, I see your hand up.
Yeah, it's just a question for the my agenda in October. Is that Our Lady of Sorrows asking for that no standing anytime? They're asking for it?
Yes, they went to, they've been working actually with the council office. They haven't, it's a change. It's a change, and I actually have a letter from them I just got today, which I'll send to you. But they've been working with the council office and I believe DOT, and they are coming to us. They were referred to us by the council office.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, let me see, any other hands? Okay, I don't see it. Yes,
No,
Jackie, your hand was up and then it went down and then it went up. What's up?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is a new question for Susan. It's also about the agenda. Because I'm looking at the date, it says that the nature subcommittee meeting is on, let me see, it's on October 8th. And it is not
Wednesday.
Yeah, so it's not, so the first Wednesday is October 6th.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have a meeting.
That's why I'm asking you to check the agenda.
Yeah, I just saw it this afternoon. I'm sorry. So just let you know. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll send an email to have it fixed right now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next, let's see, let's get out of this. Susan, I'm sorry. I thought that we were going to have I think maybe it's going to just be during public session. We had someone coming to give a presentation, right? During public. Let me see.
Who is that? We don't have public session.
No, not here. On Tuesday night. So I guess we'll wait and see what it was. Okay, don't worry about it. I'll go back in my email just to confirm. I know someone had asked for them to speak at our full board meeting. Okay.
I don't, I have about 4 or 5 speakers signed up. If you would send me an email with the person's name, I'll
Yep,
check.
I'm gonna go through the emails and just double check. All right, thank you, Susan, for your report. SLA, we're gonna get into our committee reports, and SLA is the first one up.
Thanks, Alicia. We, SLA heard 8 applications this month, 2 alterations and 6 new licenses. The meetings were all this week, so we are still waiting for stipulations to come back, right, Susan? So we don't know if everyone has signed or not at this point, just because of the late date. We also passed. Yeah, okay. So we also passed, the meetings were on Monday and Wednesday. So we also passed 2 resolutions about, one is guidance to applicants to try and help, cut off some of the, people who come to us at the front end, such as, defining some areas that are super saturated, that we will be more, considerate of what we look at there, saying that we would do stronger stipulations in those areas, for example. And then another one asking for folks to wait a year before coming back after their administrative approval for beer and wine. Any questions?
I don't see any hands, Michelle. Let me just double check. No hands.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, next committee is Parks. Trevor?
This is moving along quite well. No resolutions, although the notice to proceed for the ESCR East River Park has actually been sent, and they have started work in the park itself. We did get a report on the trees and the biosoil that will be planted in our district, and an update from the Pier 36 operator, who now states there will be cruise ships docking at Pier 36, along with other vessels. Yeah, so that's the report. Any questions?
Wow, Trevor. No, let's see. Let me see. Let me just make sure there's no hands. Let's see. I don't see any hands. No hands. All right, thank you. Okay, next we have transportation. Paul, where'd Paul go?
Sorry, my connection is a little trashy tonight. I apologize. It's taking me a little while. So for transportation, I'll start with our regular committee meeting a couple weeks ago. UA3 came to us with the loading zone. We pushed them back to this upcoming month in October. We were waiting for some more information. It was a lot of back and forth going into it, so we pushed them back to October. The Go-Go Bus Tour Inc. Had a bus application that we approved. And we had the street co-naming for Avenues for Justice. We also approved that. That will be on Avenue B between 6th and 7th Street. There was some little bit of confusion from a previous co-naming that may have been on the same intersection, but it's not. So that worked out all right. Should I address the joint committee meeting as well right now, or do I wait?
Let's see. You can, let me just go back to the agenda. I think you can, I think we can do that. Yeah, why not?
Okay, sure. So we had joint committee meeting this past Tuesday, 2 nights ago. Wasn't fantastic. It did take a while. And let me first start off by saying I do thank the office for the amount of hard work, not just going into last night. I want to thank Susan and Calvin for the meat and potatoes of that entire resolution that they put in, writing the comments, reading the comments from not just the July meeting, that and everything that was said on that night, everything that was said and written and emailed and afterwards, from July to September. That's 2 months of comments, and she already mentioned there's more comments coming in, and we've been done for 2 days. I want to thank the office also, because this text amendment came in pretty hot and heavy right before June, right? When we didn't really know what was happening, and it was questions as to whether it was going to come to us in June or they wanted something in June. And I want to thank the office for putting everything together. In regards to what happened on Tuesday night, it was a little bit of a curveball. I pride myself on being a good baseball player, and I didn't adjust to the curveball that well. So I will apologize for the way events unfolded that way. I should have been a little bit better about how to handle that. It was quite a large meeting, no excuses, no explanations, just what it is. But I do want to apologize for anything that may have happened and transpired, because the office did put a lot of elbow grease and a lot of work. And also I want to appreciate the efforts of other board members who are going to take the time to try to, make adjustments to resolutions and whatnot. And, there is a better way of probably doing stuff. And I think that's on us to properly train and do things together, because that's a good thing. We can't look at that as a negative. We have to look at it as a positive so we could bridge everything together, right? We're always going to get a draft reso that may not look great, may look great, may be bad, may not be bad, right? And then that's up to us as committees to make those adjustments at those committee meetings. Now, a monster joint committee meeting may not be the place for a lot of that stuff, but it happened. And you know what? Sometimes it's good to get through those kinds of things and just to see where those mistakes lie and happen. And we have to be appreciative of everybody putting in effort. Everybody put in effort. And I am super appreciative of the office putting all that stuff together, putting that resolution together. So thank you, Susan. Thank you, Calvin. I know he's relatively new. And I don't, the apology be on my end as a chair who chaired that into that meeting, and I'm speaking for myself in that one. So I got to hold myself accountable as well. So that's where I stand with that. But that being said, that resolution was a do not support resolution, and it was yes, barely. So we'll see what happens at full board. I think we barely scratched out quorum on Tuesday night, but it was done. It's done, and that's where we're at. Thank you.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Susan.
So first I want to say thank you, Paul. It's not your fault for anything. I was blindsided, so I know how you felt. But I want to say thank you. I appreciate your comments, because without going into it, just having it acknowledged is important. Regarding the text amendment, we had budget consults today, and things came up, a few things that I think might want to be added to the text amendment. For instance, Department of Sanitation explicitly said that there's more garbage and that they're not able to clean up because of the open restaurant program. So I'll just create a few lines and send them to you to see if that's something you might want to ask if they, if the board would like to add.
So you're saying these are lines regarding garbage that you may want to put in as a whereas clause for the resolution?
Yeah, or to support existing comments from the public.
Copy. All right, thank you. If anybody else has any questions for me, comments, concerns, jokes, poems, lyrics. Oh, David Craig, go ahead. Is it a lyric?
Yeah,
okay.
No, it was about the meeting, but perhaps it should be held until we finish the task forces. But I had thoughts on how meetings could be done differently, relatively simple things.
So let's move to discuss that at the end, David. I do agree with you that it's some things that we do need to talk about. Yes, Trevor.
Sorry, thank you. It's more about the resolution itself. There was a few people, or quite a few, who did not support. Is your impression that the people who did not supported the text amendment as the way it was written? Because I know I missed some of it, so I wasn't understanding that part.
Okay. So I had a conversation with a committee member last night who admitted at the end of the meeting they were quite confused about it, and they voted no, thinking they were saying no, we do not support, right? Even though we had addressed the do not support portion. So they wanted clarification. I said, well, I pointed out the clarification. If you voted yes, you're voting yes to the resolution that says do not support. So that they needed that clarity. And I said, well, that full board, you change that, and the way that looks, right? So I think it was a teaching moment for that person. It was fine. But they were honestly confused at the end. I think they initially wanted to probably say, oh, I would have said yes. I'm like, well, you do that full board, that's fine.
Okay.
And it was a teaching moment. So I see that there was potentially some confusion at the end, especially it was like 10 o'clock. So, and we were running through that. So yeah, no, and that person called me up and they just wanted clarification, and that's, and we were able to talk about it.
Okay, because I got this similar feedback from someone else who meant to really vote yes to not support, but anyway.
Yeah, I got the same thing. So I think I was able, Trevor, I'm sure you clarified that for that person, and I did the same for.
No, I told him to talk to you.
Maybe
I'm
it's
gonna
a
send
good
them back
thing
to you,
all day.
Trevor. But no, if they want to speak to me, sure, no problem.
Maybe it's a good idea at the full board to be really clear. If
Yeah,
you
I was
are
gonna say
against
that.
the text amendment and for the resolution, you vote yes. If you're for the text amendment and against the resolution, vote no.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah, I was going to suggest that as well. It's very important to give the clarification because you're going to have a bunch of people who they're going
I
to
have a
challenge
feeling
you.
I might be sick on Tuesday.
No.
You better not. I'm going to come find you.
Put your laptop and get in bed with your laptop.
I'm
I
moving.
I saw Jackie's hand and I see David Crane's hand. Okay, go ahead, Jackie.
I
then Larissa.
basically just wanted to piggyback on Trevor. I had the same feeling at that night, but I feel like we have very experienced land use members and the members are actually quite familiar with this type of yes and no for or against wrestle. So I actually wanted to reach out to them just to get some understanding, like why the no they vote no to the wrestle, and that's it.
Okay, David, and then Larissa. Trevor, do you have a second question? Can we lower Trevor's hand so I know the hands?
So Paul, you're the second person today who said either we barely had quorum or we did not. The fact is 2/3 of the members were there for that vote. So we comfortably had quorum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if
Not
I was
a big
there,
deal,
I
but
sat there.
There was a
so.
question about it last night, and I did say that like we definitely had quorum anyway.
Yeah. Okay, Larissa.
Okay, thank you. Just a suggestion to make it a little more clear for what you're voting on. We should really utilize our technology. Pop a little visual up. Voting yes means and voting no means. If we could do it in maybe bold letters, just a simple pop up on the screen, it may help answer questions and clear up any confusion. Some of us are more visual than we are oral, so that may help.
Okay,
So
thank
that we
you.
don't have the back, because I notice a lot of times when we have these votes that are a little confusing, it ends up with a lot of back and forth and it gets just more convoluted and more confusing, and that might help eliminate a lot of that.
Okay,
Only
good
note.
suggestion. Good suggestion. Thank you. Who can we say will be responsible for that before we move forward? Because that has to happen like by Monday. So that it'll be available for screen sharing.
Yeah, if I'm helping Linda with the Zoom facilitation for full board, I could pop something up.
So we need
Just
the
a simple
exact
word.
language. We need the
I need
exact language. Yes.
Yeah, I need the language and
Mhm.
I'll put it in very simple bold and just pop that up on the screen for everyone so that they know exactly what a yes vote means and what a no vote means.
Okay.
Can I suggest it might be a good idea to send it out to the members ahead of time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That means that we need it like before noon. Oh, well, I would say Monday afternoon if possible, because some people don't have an opportunity to look, during the day on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's true. We got a bunch of people that complain about that kind of stuff. So yes. Larissa, hands down. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And we're now going to move on. If there are no more questions for Paul. Okay. Economic development did not meet, right?
We didn't meet, so I don't have anything to report from this month, but we are going to be meeting next month. And it'll be a joint, we'll have, one of the items will be a joint item with transportation.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Anisha. So you're not interested in chairing nominating committee?
No.
Okay, thank you. Health and Human Services, May Lee, you had a meeting.
Yeah, we had a meeting in October. We had an update from Mount Sinai Beth Israel about just a little update. They haven't been to the committee in quite some time. Just, what they're doing. As you all know, they're changing their whole plan, and, keeping the 16th Street, that campus, and, renovating that campus. It's going to take a while. They'll have to redo their, I think they have to resubmit their certificate of need. But that's where they're at with that. The Behavioral Health Center is still on track to be the way it is, although its opening will be delayed because, during the shutdown, they didn't do any construction. And then, so that's basically what we heard. And I think that it's just a little bit, but what we'll have to do is, they're welcome to come to the board anytime we request to give us updates or have conversations with us and talk about what they're doing, or we need to have more input. So that's so that was that. And then the other thing we had at the committee was we talked about street homeless. Goddard Riverside does a lot of street outreach with homeless, but there's a lot of service. This whole thing about providing services to their clients is, there are other organizations, there needs to be a lot more coordination. So, they do outreach to the street homeless. They may have received services from, unknown number of other organizations. There's no coordination between all these things. So we had 3 service them and 2 other service providers, Housing Works and Community Access. Just to, beginning to have some discussion about there's some kind of pilot project or something they could do together. So nothing definitive came out of the meeting. I think a lot more still needs to be done, for them, maybe internally in their organization as well. But I'm understanding that they will, there's some interest, and, there's also a lot of barriers as well. So they just need to talk more about what it is they can realistically do. I think they had a meeting of their own, right after the meeting. And I think that's the kind of, they need to talk with each other more, and it's not the kind of meeting that, that's recorded and put up on YouTube the next day. It's not that they want to have that kind of a meeting. So we'll hear more from them later, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a really great meeting, May. Thank you. I really got a lot of information out of that meeting. Susan, I do see your hand. Go ahead.
Well, some very short things. First, just as a follow-up, Community Access decided they could not participate, and Goddard is now actually going out for some shifts with Positive for Alliance Change and some shifts with Housing Works, but there will be more meetings and more follow-up. But I just wanted to note for you, May, I put another item on your agenda and said to be confirmed. So it's a NAFI item. So if you could get back to me on whether we should keep it or not.
Yeah, he sent an email. He wondered if he gave a little bit more about maybe,
Right.
he sent it a little bit more about where they were at. So if this is a good time, then yeah, we can keep it.
Okay, thank you.
Because they had to go do, there was something else they have to do or that's coming up soon in terms of their process, if you'll see from the email.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah, so
May.
it would be good. Yeah, it would be good to have it as long as it's a good time to have it.
Okay,
And it can just be like a little, it can be informational, even though it's not all the information.
yeah, I'll ask them if they're looking for support or whether it's just informational.
All
But
right.
even if it's just informational, maybe it's okay.
Okay,
Unless
All right.
it's like not useful to have it now. So you can talk to him. We can talk to him.
All right. Thank you, May Lee. Let's see. Okay.
Oh, the other
Elaine-
thing I want interesting to know next, encourage people to go to next month is we're having this Racial Justice Commission to come. And they're talking about how in this, in the city charter, there's, changing the city charter, because there's all this, the way it's written, there's a lot of structural racism. And so it's just, and they're going to have all these meetings and hearings and they've done all this work and they have a whole website. It's part of the city. So it's, I think since the city charter governs a lot of what we do, it should be interesting.
Yeah, it does sound like it's going to be an interesting topic. Anisha and Susan, your hand is up again, or
no, sorry.
Anisha, your hand?
I was just gonna add to May's thing. I'm actually like the main consultant to the Racial Justice Commission. So I'm doing all of the engagement for them. So there's going to be like a very heavy period of like public comments for the next 2 months about ballot measures. So both like for community board members, but for like anybody in New York City, all of your constituency should definitely take a look and be engaged in the charter reform process. They're going bold. So if now is the time to talk about structural racism, it's here.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Land use, Jackie.
Thank you, Alicia. So both land use and NYCHA did not meet this month, so I have nothing to report. But in October, NYCHA will present a plan to convert Campus Plaza number 2 to become project-based session 8. So that is something to look forward to. And also, I won't be at a full board this month because I'll be on my flight back to New York, and maybe I would have to ask Linda to submit, but it really has nothing to report on land use and nature.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Yeah, that meeting is actually going on tonight, right? They're having that meeting tonight with the residents over at Campos Plaza. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Susan, myself, and Jackie were actually on a phone call with NYCHA and discussing some pre-planning to prepare for that meeting. So if you're interested in hearing about it, I encourage you all to attend because they're going to do the second half of Campos to conversion. So it's really going to be an interesting meeting. Okay, next we have Linda, Landmarks.
Yeah, we had one resolution. It's kind of a feel-good resolution, really. All the community boards are passing similar resolutions at the landmarks committees, which simply asks the Landmarks Commission to take better care of the historic districts and to avoid oversized development within the historic districts. This was triggered not by anything in our district, but by 250 Water Street, which is in Community District 1, which is a huge tall building in the middle of the South Street Seaport Historic District. And preservationists throughout the city are outraged and asking for, a little bit of pressure on the Landmarks Commission about that. There's a little bit about the Soho NoHo district also, which impinges on the historic district, that rezoning proposal.
Okay, any questions for Linda? Okay, thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Paul, go ahead.
I said, sorry, my connection is a little bad. Is that something being asked of all the boards that that affect, I know it affects like CD1, CD2, but is that being asked of all the boards for their landmarks committees and stuff like that? You're on mute, Linda.
Requested of all the boards, whether they'll all do it, I don't know. But
Okay.
certainly we'll see it in 1, 2, and 3, I think.
Susan, your hand is up.
Okay, mine is on something I forgot to say. So if anyone else has comments on that, you should go first.
Anyone have a comment on what Linda just shared? Okay, go ahead, Susan.
So what I forgot to mention to people is we're having a public hearing for the budget. I believe it's next Wednesday. Is it Monday or Wednesday? I don't have a calendar in front of me.
The 27th.
So it's next Monday.
Yeah.
That means all the chairs should be there.
Yep.
And Alicia, you're chairing the meeting.
Yep.
And please note that the district needs is done, but we haven't voted on it. But you will be also voting on budget priorities for almost every committee. So we always have to, the office always has to plan a lot with the chairs to get ready for that. So I just wanted to remind you that that was happening. And the other thing is for the budget hearing, I have notice on it on the website I have for over a month. But if people want to reach out to organizations that are pertinent to their committee to let them know about the budget hearing, that would be great also.
Thank you, Susan, for that reminder. That's right. That's a big meeting Monday night before full board. So yeah. Trevor, I see your hand.
Just a heads up, Susan, I know it's parks heavy, but I will not be there. So either get Kay or possibly Ryan or someone else to go.
Yes, it is always 99% parks.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go into our task force, and I think we covered a lot of the task force. Jackie just spoke about NYCHA, and so May, you have nothing for personnel, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't, no, not that I know of.
No.
Okay. Okay, great. NYCHA will have their meeting October 6th. Arts and Culture.
Arts and Culture did meet this month.
Mm-hmm.
They planned their town. They were planning their town hall, which they would like to have in December. And they put together sort of like the topics and the agenda. So that's still sort of an active planning mode, I guess. And I did want to do a bylaws update. So whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I neglected to put it on.
And that can be right after right now. So Chinatown neighborhood planning, nothing to report. Go ahead. We're going to do old business, and we'll say that this is the bylaws.
Why don't we just add number 5 bylaws under task force?
Sure. Thomas, please duly note the minutes to reflect that. Number 5. It's going to be a number 5 after. Okay, go ahead, Anisha.
So bylaws met a couple of times this summer, and Susan circulated the bylaws amendments or changes that the full board will be voting on Tuesday. We got some comments from one board member. So I have a couple of actually pretty small changes that can be proposed on Tuesday. I am going to be on a plane out of the country, so will not be attending full board. But David Crane and Michelle will handle any questions related to the bylaws changes.
Okay. Yes, David, I see your hand.
So are you going to be able to give me a copy of things to deal with? I mean, I was at all the meetings, so I kind of know what's happening. It's
Yes,
email
so
chains.
I'm gonna send them to you like right after. I've like just had a crazy month with
Okay.
all the stuff. So I went through the comments from the board member, and I've only chosen to address like a few of them with some changes. So I'll lay all of that out for you.
Okay, because when you said a few, I thought, oh, I remember quite a few, but okay, if there are a few, that's good.
I'm gonna decide that
So-
those will not be changed.
So amendments to a bylaws amendment are really restrictive. So just really quickly, the thing we need to be asking when anybody proposes an additional change, if anything in their change could conceivably have caused someone to try to come to the meeting because they would oppose it or support it, then we cannot do it at the meeting because we have to give those people a 28-day notice.
Right.
So if it's
I
a
think-
small wording change, that's perfectly fine.
Yes, so it's there are two small wording changes, and then one where I actually just made a copy edit mistake. So that, I mean, that's up to you guys if like that's allowed or not, I suppose, to change, but I struck through something that I wasn't supposed to. I was too heavy-handed. And it's reflected in the minutes of the bylaws committee, like the things that we had talked about, and this one was not supposed to be in there. And then some of the comments, you know, could be substantive change, but in further like discussion and looking through it, I think there are reasons why some of those things were not included or included in the changes. So that just needs to be stated, I guess, if it comes up.
Susan, your hand.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So if people decide they don't like something substantive, and I guess this is a question for David, what happens? Is it that section taken out and everything else voted on, or, you know, what is the process?
Okay, as soon as we hear that someone is saying that, we can't divide the question, and we can say, okay, we can have a separate vote for that part, and that includes whatever it is, you know, that section or that paragraph of the bylaws. We are allowed to do that, and we should if there's someone who is wanting to vote a different way. Like, just to use a silly example, I happen to hold the treasurer's position, and I also know that the bylaws is getting rid of it. I might be opposed to that, and I might say I'm in favor of all of the rest of it, but not this one. Can we please vote on that one separately? I mean, I'm totally fine with it.
So that I understand. Now, what if someone says, I want to propose that there be two treasurers, but that isn't something that's been notified to the board for 30 days. So if someone wants to do something like that, does that part have to come back to the board?
That part would have to go through a whole new
Yes.
task force round that would have to be started by our chair. That is exactly the kind of thing that is not a small clarifying change.
Paul, I see your hand.
So to follow up on that, is that the reason why we have the next Thursday meeting on the calendar, just in case if there's issues on Tuesday night?
It was the reason to have that, like if there were substantive changes that were raised in this period of time, I guess, and we wanted to hold off taking things to the full board and meet again. But given we've only received a handful of comments from one person, and there is justification for our reasoning around sort of material comments, I don't think we need to not present everything at full board and start meeting again.
Okay.
How are we going to be able to visually do this at an online meeting? Is that something we're interested in showing? Markup
So we
version?
have the bylaws that have all the tracked changes, and then the like 3 copy like small edits, potential amendments, I've highlighted. So it'll be to accept or reject those additional amendments, I suppose.
And we're posting that with the minutes again on the website tomorrow, that with the track changes.
Okay, good. I'm just thinking if we could bring it up. The one thing that we attempted at the meeting 2 nights ago did not work. We couldn't actually bring up a markup version of a document that could be seen on a Zoom screen.
And
Can we
the
do it as a
only-
PDF?
But
I
then you
don't know if
won't
I
be able
want
to
it as a
edit it.
PDF, but we need someone with the software and ability to use it that can go, okay, here it is in line with underscores and with markouts. I think
Mhm.
that's the easiest way to see it. And we couldn't pull that together. But anyway, we should just,
If I can say, if we use a
sure, we can do
PDF,
that.
if we use a PDF, we won't be able to edit it. So we need to,
Right, I'm
be
not
able to-
recommending a PDF. I wouldn't recommend that because we do.
no,
need to
but
be able
what
to
we
edit.
have now is a PDF.
I see, we would need a Word document.
So
whatever
what
it
we,
is in.
we also need a Word document that can be edited.
I've sent it, it's all in a Word document. I think that I was confused as to, but we're looking at a Word document right now. So
Right.
if there are changes, it should be possible to see them.
For some reason, it's a setting, and I think it's a Word 10 thing, to be honest. It's, for some reason, it doesn't show the track changes as easily. So people get something, they don't even realize it. You have to go into the settings and show the full markup, make sure that's showing.
I see, okay.
So is there some way to have a to-do for someone who can present it to ensure that they can?
I'll send it to whoever is I'll send it to the district office, obviously, and to you, David, and to Michelle. But it should be shared with and tested by whoever is going to be the Zoom facilitator at the meeting.
Or the secretary. I mean, it should be, the secretary should have it because the secretary sends everything back to the office with all the final edits.
Yes, obviously, but I think it's being able to see it on the screen, right?
Well, both. I'm not
The
concerned about.
secretary has the secretary needs to then have the software and the ability to screen share. Well, they'll be able to screen share if they have Zoom, but to have the
So-
software that can show easy to read markup.
Well, let's ask Thomas, is he going to be the secretary? Who's going to be the secretary for Tuesday night?
So I haven't heard back from Shirley, so Thomas, can you do it?
Yeah, I just would have to run through the materials ahead of time. So whatever you could get me. would help
Okay.
out.
I can also
I can send you
Michelle
everything. Yeah, and
specifically.
I can send you everything tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll send it. I'll also make sure that Michelle knows how to handle it.
Okay.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Concerned, I'm sorry, if Michelle's doing it and Thomas is doing it, I'm just concerned about the document that we get back after the meeting with all the resolutions, in their final form. I think it's concerning having two different people working on it.
Yeah, I hope we're not going to have the full board edit a document the way that committee did it.
Well, hopefully it's just a few little things, but it needs to be in the document that Paul sends back to the board.
I think my intention is really to just have two people prepped in case one or the other is not able to do it. And I think both Thomas and Michelle will know that whoever is actually taking care of it on the screen will send that information to all the pertinent people.
If you want to, we could have a practice Zoom meeting and see how it shows up.
You're welcome to. I won't be here, so. We can figure it out.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Anisha. Any old business? We have any old business? Any new business? Okay, I think
Was
go ahead, David. This is an opportunity for us
where we
to,
might want to talk.
yep, this is where we
Yep.
can talk about that meeting.
Okay. So, so I said I had 3 ideas. So the first idea, really all members, they need to be aware that the majority in a meeting has a right to have an efficient meeting. Now, if members feel that time is being wasted, they need to speak up during the meeting. It's possible to do this in an informal, polite way, raising hands and all that. There are also ways to use Robert's rules, but that isn't strictly necessary. What I do know that was happening is behind the scenes, there were text messages flying that this is a waste of time. Those were not being expressed in the meeting. Side meetings are not only not productive, if you're engaged in one, you need to, really you shouldn't be doing that. We need to stay into the main meeting. Okay, second idea. When we start debate on a large motion, such as for this text amendment, we should consider always doing a roundtable to give every member a chance to express where they stand now, right up front. For example, do they support or not support the text amendment? We often do this at committee meetings, so it's a natural thing, but I really recommend that we make it routine. And then again, also members should feel free to remind us that, hey, would that be useful? The double negative confusion about that vote at the end notwithstanding, I think there were more supporters of this text amendment than any of us assumed. That includes those potential supporters. They didn't know who each other were, and there's just something very undemocratic about that we got 3 hours and 20 minutes into a meeting before there was even an inkling in my mind that there was more than one supporter. Okay, then the third thing, I think that we should probably plan an editing stage for large draft resolutions such as this text amendment. Just a day or two, the editor should probably include members who didn't work on the original draft. All resolutions, especially highly technical ones, benefit from fresh eyes, attempting to make the document really clear and easy to understand. That's kind of it. That's kind of it. I think that the third point, I think that all of the effort fell on Susan. I don't think that we did a good job we didn't do a good job of preparing this amendment. I'm not criticizing the work that was put into it. I'm just saying that we needed a better process. Anyway, those are my ideas.
Thank you, David. Susan, I see your hand.
So I agree with everything David says, but I would like to add one more thing. This is an unusually important, huge text amendment. And I think, I don't know if it's something like this is going to come up again, certainly not in the near future, but we have to be prepared to be more flexible about it. And I think before we have this meeting David's talking about with other people editing it, there should be a meeting before that where people are sitting down and talking about what should be included in it. It doesn't have to be writing it, it can be bullet points and that kind of thing. I mean, it was work. I feel like we missed things as far as the writing of it. I think it was perfectly valid to say it needed wordsmithing, afterward. It just should have happened at an earlier stage. One of the problems is that we had final comments coming to me on the 15th, which was the Wednesday before. So then I sent it back to everybody on Friday because that only gave me 2 days. And then people felt that wasn't enough time for them to read and comment, which I also understand. So I think we just learned a lot and we may not use this knowledge again, because like I say, it was a huge thing. I know other boards or at least CB2, which is similar in their impact, actually had a couple of what they call business meetings to work on writing it. So I would agree with everything David said, that add one more meeting. And I know it's a lot of work, but it's just the nature of it. And it's really important. And I think warranted and needed that work.
I wanted to add something. Yeah, David, I do agree, whenever you're like kind of distant, I guess you want to take apart each piece, but you want to be very conscious of the fact that there's a time constraint. You don't want to keep people there 4 and 5 and 6 hours trying to do this. So you're right, if we could have had some other way of doing it, it may have been beneficial. But we also had a board member who chose that night to air out and berate the office. And I don't think that that was fair either.
I'm got to tell you, I'm really uncomfortable with discussing. This impacts me, and I'm uncomfortable discussing it on a Zoom meeting.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, we have to figure out ways to get members to, respond in a positive way, not, so I don't know, maybe as chairs, I mean, the 3 chairs that were there, maybe it's something that that we could have a discussion at another time,
Well, you committed to me to speaking to this person before the weekend was over, so I'm asking you to do that and hoping you will.
Yeah, I am. I just also want to make sure that, I mean, this person is not leaving our board. So we need to, in case anything like this ever happens again, we want to make sure that we're able to handle it on a timely manner and not allow it to continue for the meeting, to address it right then and there. And so then I don't have to have these little side conversations with people, because I'm not going to always be here, right? And so I can't do that. So you have to learn how to do these things on the spot. Okay. Yes, David, your hand is up again.
Yeah, I think Linda beat me to that, so I'm gonna let Linda go.
No, well, I think I want to, first of all, support what you said, David, and just add a little something. If we do have an editorial meeting ahead, then the person who had the substantive changes could have gone to that meeting, and they could have been either accepted or not accepted and put into the draft for discussion, and we wouldn't have had to spend 3 hours doing it as a gang. That was just totally unproductive. And I don't see that the resolution really in the end was improved. Some wording was improved.
Agreed. Okay, Jackie. I'm sorry, David. Jackie, then David. Go ahead.
David first, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, David.
We did spend an hour and 40 minutes on word crafting. And then we spent the second hour and 40 minutes supposedly on substantial stuff. Those must be reversed at meetings generally. Now, at the very beginning of when we did the word crafting, I panicked, and you heard me going all Robert's rules on people. Don't second it, don't second it. And I encouraged us to continue taking them one at a time. And people thought that would take too long, and it evolved into let's just do the whole thing, which kind of then baked it in that we were going to spend the whole time on it. The other thing, 2 other people did speak up. One person suggested, can we do this and have another meeting in 2 days?
Yeah,
that person
I
ultimately
heard that.
left the meeting because I believe that they felt it was a waste of time. And then someone else, I forget who it was, asked if we could prioritize, if the person who was trying to make the amendments could prioritize. And they were unwilling to do that. At that moment, I think that the meeting should have turned and said, we shall prioritize these and consider, a limited number of amendments. But yeah, the meeting needs to do that. The meeting is to understand when we're about to go down a rabbit hole, and insist on metering it. That's what I would recommend. And I'm really sorry that's a lot of, it's not a simple thing to do. And we don't have a lot of facility with running large contentious meetings. I got to say I do, because as a young man, I was an ACT UP, and so we ran all of our meetings by Robert's rules, and it was life or death. And so I know the rules, and I know how they can be used. I don't know if I need to stop talking.
Thank you, David. Jackie, you have input?
Yeah, so I agree with everything David said, but I just have a question or concern, like if we are doing this editorial meeting before actual meeting, or allow members to do a Google Doc, multiple people editing, whatever path it is. My concern is that are we forbidding members to bring up new points or new ideas at the meeting or not? If not, then people are going to continue to, I mean, even we have this editorial meeting before actual meeting, people going to be adding the same way. So that is, I guess, unless we propose a motion or something to say that, oh, after this editorial meeting, no new points will be proposed or something like that.
Susan?
Well, I'm going to go back to my point. Before you have this editorial meeting, you have to have a meeting where you ask the members, what do you want in here for this huge type of resolution? Certainly not for everything. Members were asked to send in comments. 3 members send in comments. Two of them are on this meeting. So they didn't do the work of sending it in. They need to do more work. The members need to do more work, and these meetings do have to be public meetings, so they have to be scheduled. But I really believe that first they need a meeting when you have something this huge. And again, it may be once every 10 years. You need to have the members sit and make their points of what they want included before you do the editorial. But the reason I really raised my hand was I think you should be prepared for at the full board. You know how people like to change and rewrite and we discuss everything. I'm praying it doesn't happen, but you should be prepared on how you're going to handle that and what's going to happen.
I mean, this document really did remind me a lot of when we were kind of dealing with the Essex crossing.
Right.
It was such a large document and there was so many pieces of it. And what we did on our committee was we just broke it down, but we had time to do that. This didn't give us enough time, and it's an unfortunate thing.
We could have had 1 or 2 more meetings.
Yeah, I agree, Susan. You're right. David?
So to Jackie's question, no, after the editorial, is really just to edit the text for clarity, I believe. I mean, yeah, there may be substantive changes, but the point is it preserves space at meetings for the substantive discussion, which we really never had. When we finally started it, it was not productive last night, 2 nights ago. So yes, people may make edits, but they're not going to be editing on every single paragraph. There have been word changes, which is what happened Tuesday night, right? And then so the thing about having a pre-meeting, as Susan described it, yes, we almost always would have a strong sense of what the outcome needs to be before, and we would go out, we would lead into bullets. Now, we could not have done it in July because there was a mob present. I mean, there truly was. That was a pretty scary meeting, even though the mob was backing me up. And at one point I was getting fiery myself. It was definitely a mob. So we should have scheduled another one. An editorializing group would be quite small. It would not really be a meeting. It would be a caucus or people just doing work. It would not be a quorum of the fuller group. That would not need to be a publicly scheduled meeting, but certainly something where we were deciding, let's draft a resolution that will support the text amendment and structure it in this way. That does have to be at a public meeting.
Yeah. Susan, your hand is up.
I have no idea what I wanted to say.
Okay. So does anyone have any other? Yes, Paul, go ahead.
So it was my intent on Tuesday night to start with the discussion about this thing. And like I said before, that curveball came at 6:28 p.m. with something completely different. And I didn't adjust on the fly when I needed to adjust on the fly. No excuses, no explanation. on my end. It was just like, I was thrown for a loop. I'll be honest. I know everybody's got changes that they want to make, and I get, and yeah, my plan, and I usually have a little game plan. I got my notes on my side of my computer before the meeting happens of what I want to do, what I want to say, and how I'm going to pivot to stuff. That got thrown out of the window in like the first time. So and don't get me wrong, I'm appreciative of people who want to make changes and be a part and do. It's in of itself not a terrible thing, right? But and you want to cultivate that. We can't lose that, right? But at the same time, it was like, what in the world just happened here?
Yeah.
Because I trust me, if there was somebody who was more tired on Tuesday night, it was me. And I just I've been back in the office 5 days a week. I got my students back, and it's been exhausting. And I wanted to get through that by 9 o'clock. In my mind, I wanted to get done by 9. Yeah, I know it didn't happen. And yeah, I'm hearing all the feedback here, and I'm always appreciative of everything David has to say. I was appreciative when you all asked me to be co-chair for transportation, and then eventually give me the reins, and I appreciate that. So, I'm still learning, and I'm gonna take all this advice and hearing that, and I'm definitely gonna use it, and I'll be a little bit more assertive if I have something that big again next time.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
I'd say we appreciate that you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I think everybody was blindsided, and it was just a learning opportunity.
Really
Frankly,
was.
I think you did the best you could, Paul.
I think so too.
Did
Yeah.
not have any criticism of what you did at all.
No.
I also want to be mindful while that person, is not comfortable talking about a board member, but whether people think it added to the reso or not, fine. I'm appreciative that somebody actually took the time and did something like that. And that's where this editorial thing comes in, because you could use a mind like that to help and construct and deconstruct and say, hey, maybe we should say this. It makes it look nice, or it makes it look stronger. That's something you want to keep as well. So I want to keep that in mind.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, you're right. Trevor and then Jackie.
I'll be quick, and if Paul can answer if you feel comfortable. I missed the first few minutes of the meeting, and I know you talked about a curveball. I'm trying to piece together what I think happened. I have some experience with ESCR with a whole resolution coming in before the meeting, but I'm just without going into too much detail, I'm just trying to figure out what happened in the beginning.
So I think we were starting the meeting, and then I think there was a quick motion to adopt a new resolution. If that's how it was, how it was phrased.
Yeah,
a
a
full
resolution that had never been distributed to anyone.
Right.
We
A
sent
full
out.
resolution?
It was basically a whole new resolution.
Okay.
The what ended up being a majority of what we used on Tuesday.
Okay.
Night. But we had the copy that was sent over by the office Friday. That was sent out to. I definitely sent it out to my committee on Sunday afternoon. Then there was an extra, some additions that were sent out, and I sent that out Monday evening, and that was the reso I was going to be working off of at the Tuesday evening initially, and right at the beginning of the meeting, literally right after attendance, probably is that there's a whole new reso in there that I've taken the time to edit, and I want to adopt this thing in there. So I'm still kind of unclear about it. How it just all went. I think it flustered me so much I didn't know how to really respond to it.
I understand. I was just trying to piece together how this works, but now I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, intent behind it is, I get it. But that's why it's a draft reso. It's a working doc, so we can make changes. Whether it's a one that you completely don't like or do like, there's never going to be a reso we completely like or anything like that. I probably never once liked anything about the bike lane on Avenue C, but hey, it went through, right? So it's
Understand.
That's it.
Understood.
It's a good question, Trevor. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jackie.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate, Paul, you chaired the meeting. I have been on that spot before, and it's not easy. And I think you did a great job and consider what the situation was. And also there were a lot of things that just unpredictable. We as a group, I think CB3 as a group, we can always work better. There's always room to improve. But I think I just wanted to say, don't let the meeting frustrate you. I think you did a good job. I think you have the support from a majority of the members who attend that meeting.
Yeah.
I would need to find out, I mean, particularly to the land use members, because I don't think the double negative things is something stop them from voting for or against Russell, because they are used to this type of wrestle. I just need to figure out, I guess I just, for my own understanding, I'll try to understand why certain members vote against it. But you did a good job, Paul. So.
Thanks, Jackie. Just if I could just respond. Yeah, no. First of all, you can take your text amendments back. That'd be great if it goes right back to land use. That'd be phenomenal. If you want them back, it's all great. But all joking aside, yes, it's a learning moment for me. Thank you. I'm appreciative of the compliments, but I'm also very much aware that there was things that came out of this that we can learn from it as a group. And I think the one thing that struck from me probably more than anything else is like, we don't need to be adversarial towards each other. We're all part of this board together.
Right.
We are all on our separate committees that we've chosen or been appointed to. And everyone's got the same goal and mission in mind to try to better help this district. And that's super important. And everybody's got a hand in, and that's the important thing for me. So when I look at a lot of what happened Tuesday night, yeah, it was adversarial in certain things, and we shouldn't be tearing each other apart. I think we did enough of that at the end of last year. We don't need to be bringing all that back. All right. We have to cultivate the new talent that we have, and we just have to mesh together and blend together. And I know, Alicia, you're talking about putting things together for us to come together as a group and a lot of stuff. I think it's probably needed now more than ever, because there are more newer members. A lot of the newer members have only been on Zoom. I've only chaired one meeting face to face, and it was a pound of flesh meeting in July. So everything else I've chaired has been on Zoom. So, and that's cool, but face to face is also something I still have to learn as a chair, right? Like how to control a mob or something like that. Control may be a little bit of a strong word, but navigate that type of meeting, right? So there's a lot for us who are younger chairs or newer chairs that we have to learn and continue to grow. And I learned a lot from Tuesday night. It's not necessarily frustrating, Jackie. Yeah, but it was frustrating in the moment. Now I'm like, all right, whatever. It happened. It happened. Took the ass kicking. Excuse my language, and we move on and we learn from it.
That's it.
I feel like the Jets quarterback from Sunday throwing 4 interceptions. That's right.
I saw that game. Cut it out. But yeah. I mean, and that's the idea. We learn from every experience and what your takeaway is. And that's why we have executive meetings, so that we could talk about these things and we could give each other support and feedback. It's not so much about rehashing the meetings over again. It's about, how can I support you? How can we support one another when situations come up? So this is a good example. And I agree, Paul, you did a wonderful job. I mean, I sat in the meeting. I was frustrated. I was doing because I was trying not to jump in, because I was like, because that was not going to be effective. Right? That wasn't going to be effective. So I knew when to back out. But anyway, is there anything else anyone else has to say before we conclude tonight's meeting with a roll call vote from our Secretary Thomas? All right, go ahead, Thomas.
Okay, give me a second. Just pulling up my doc. Okay, Alicia. Larissa.
Yes.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes, hello, yes.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Thomas, present. Shirley? David?
Yes, here, whatever it
Yes.
is.
Michelle stepped out, correct?
Yeah, yes, she did.
Okay.
Yes.
Anisha?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes, nice cat, David.
Trevor?
Yes.
And Paul?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, everyone. That concludes tonight's executive meeting. Thank you very much. Jackie, travel safe. And I will see you Monday evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Check your emails and get back to Susan. Thank you.
For what?
Okay.
Oh, for.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night. Bye. Thank you, Linda.